Welcome to episode 82 of the Brew Crew Scoop. The Milwaukee Brewers are 5-1 following a 6-game homestand to start the year against the Chicago White Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays. So Brewers just every year keep on winning despite the negativity and the doubts in the national media.
No torpedo bats to bring us down this opening weekend.
Thank God.
Yeah,
Uh,
Kian, you were at opening day, right?
I was. Oh my
Yeah,
God, this
buddy.
rain. It was a cool experience. I mean, it was definitely a different kind of opening day. It felt like after, last year's postseason success. So I know Scoop mentioned that like the monkeys kind of off our back, the chip off our shoulder of actually winning a postseason series, and of course against the Cubs. So it felt so good just to be back and not have to worry about, going through an entire season just to have to go winless in the postseason, I should say. I wouldn't say heart's broken because hard to do that when you win 96 games or a little less, between 88 and 96 wins every year. Um, but those 3 days that you lose in the wild card round can really turn that sour pretty quick. So it was a cool experience. You guys definitely missed out. But the other game I went to on Tuesday that had, 10,000 people at it, that was great too. I mean, the ballpark atmosphere this year is just great.
What was your favorite part of your game on Tuesday, Coach Kian?
Let me buy a beer. Sure. These fans, I love them. When I came in, they didn't recognize me at first, but then when I told them who I was, next thing you know, they're buying me my favorite beer. Thanks. Hey, it's a pleasure to buy a beer for a great pitcher like Whitey Ford. Hey, so I lied.
Probably the hams with a lemon that I drank. I wasn't going to drink, and I was like, holy crap, this is the bar. I was sitting in 421, and I was like, this is the section with the hams. And I walked up there, and I was like, I heard you guys are selling hams. And she's like, no. And then she's like, yeah, we just put a fresh case in. And I was like, no way. It was great. And then like five guys were like, there's hams here? And I was like, yeah. And then they came up. Like, it was just cool. I love going to games. It's just the midweek games with 10,000 people at it. You cannot beat those. I'm sorry.
Yep, I agree, I agree. But what time do you start drinking on opening day?
Oh, that I sent you guys a picture of me drinking a Bloody Mary at the bar at like 7:45 in the morning. We went to breakfast and she offered, she's like, you guys look like you're gonna need some sodium. You want me to make some bloodies fresh? I was like, yeah, why not? It was great. And then we went and we probably drank until about midnight. So that was a long day. I don't my body doesn't recover that well anymore. That was a 3-day hangover. But all in good fun.
Yep.
Kian, what was your beer of the week? I just
My
wanted
beer of the week
I just
was
wanted to throw that in there so we can put the audio clip in there and
Well, I'll
make
just
it.
I'll just add it in. You don't have to you
beer
don't
of the
I
have
week
to
know.
was hams.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It was great too. You guys got to get up there, man. It's just another reason to sit in the 400 section in the middle of the week. In your poor like me, I got $13 tickets after fees on StubHub. Me and my dad went. It was great. And then I got one $5 hams, and then I spent, of course, I spent $10 to eat a pretzel with cheese. So
You said another reason to sit in the 400s. What are the initial reasons to sit in the 400s?
during the week, it's empty. You spread out. Don't got to worry about people in your way getting up to go to the bathroom every 6 times a game. It's great. You can actually enjoy it. And the views, in my opinion, the views of like the whole stadium atmosphere are the best from up there.
the
You can see
stadium
everything.
atmosphere when there's 7,000 people at the ballpark.
Yeah. A lot of people dressed up as empty seats, or I was tripping.
Well, I got to disagree that those are the best seats in the house, but that's fine. We'll agree to disagree. Um, Started on opening day on Thursday. Brewers trounced the White Sox. It was a 14-2 win. Um, Mizorowski gave up a homer to Chase Mydroth to start the season, but then after that, it was 14 unanswered from the Brewers. Murakami homered in the ninth. Spoiler, he homered a lot in this series. Good start for the new import from the Japanese league. He was quite the slugger over there, and there were some questions about him hitting velocity, but hasn't been an issue now. so far. And unfortunately, the news out of that game is Andrew Vaughn broke his hamate bone, so we'll talk about that a little bit. But even though it's a short-ish recovery from the minor surgery, guys have really suffered. Their power has suffered in the season following that. So we'll see how that pans out. But then, technically, a come from behind win there. And then going into Saturday, the Brewers came in the game hot. They scored four in the first two innings. It was a 6-1 win. Nobody homered in that game for the Brewers, but Chad Patrick had a pretty decent start, went four and a third. Ashby bridged to Zerpa, Uribe, and Hall. And then Sunday they finished off the sweep against the White Sox. It was 9-7. The big thing there, it was 7-2 White Sox all the way into the bottom of the sixth. Brewers had Lockridge single to drive in Frelick, then Terang singled to drive in Ortiz, Rengifo singled to drive in Lockridge and Perkins, and then of course it was the pinch hit 3-run homer by Christian Yelich, first home run of the season. So big moment. He absolutely tattooed that ball down the right field line. That was awesome. Signature moment there for Yelich in his career, honestly. And he's got a lot of them as a Brewer, but pinch hit to go ahead. Just a tank. It was awesome. So Brewers were 3-0 after that series. And then against the Rays, the one game I've been to this year, unfortunately, McGill gave up a walk, I believe, with 2 outs in the ninth, and then that run came around to score. And then it was a 3-2 loss. They could not pull it out. Following that, there was a Tuesday, another night game where Coach Keane just reported back. Brewers won 6-2. Brandon Woodruff back on the mound. So started the season in the majors, and it looked like he belonged there. So 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, just 2 earned, 4 hits. And then yesterday's matinee game on Wednesday, it was an 8-2 win. Brewers kind of rolled in that one. Tampa Bay struck first with a 2-run homer in the top of the third, but then Bryce Terang, America's second baseman, hit a 2-run homer in the bottom of the third. It was all Brewers from there. So 8-2. Brewers are 5-1 atop the NL Central. It's a little early to be looking at standings, but Cardinals got 4 wins, and then everyone else has 3 wins. So in their first 6 games.
It's never too early to look at the standings, Scoop. What's our magic number right now?
Yeah, 158.
Yeah, I think you talked a lot about the offensive performances. Pitching, honestly, has looked really good too. So we can probably roll right into hot hitters of the week. Coach Keane, you had live eyes on 2 games. You got anyone to shout out?
Oh, stop dropping on fire, Ricky Bobby. I'm on fire. He's so hot right now.
I am going to shout out probably the most obvious guy, which is a shame. But Bryce Strang just looks like a different guy. I mean, the
All right,
confidence
D-Row.
from August, that D-Row segment today on MLB Central, watching that live, I mean, everybody hates D-Row, but I've said he's one of my favorite analysts. He deep dives, and I'm telling you, he strokes some Brewers off. So, like, I appreciate that. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a great, great clip. Just talking about what, Bryce Strang, the changes he's made in where he has his hands in his swing, and just the confidence that he has. So, I mean, from August to September to carry that over into the USA World Baseball Classic team, and then obviously to start the season, the guy is on fire. Not much else to say.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so far, or since we've last talked, which is obviously year to date, he's got a 1.227 OPS, 4 doubles, homer, 6 runs, 5 RBI, 2 steals, and he's also the leader in B WAR, and he's not the leader in F WAR. The leader in F WAR is Joey Weimer, but yeah, Bryce Strang's the obvious answer. Yeli also has 8 hits, all singles other than that homer, but 5 runs, 7 RBI, stolen base. And then there's a good amount of honorable mentions, honestly. Lots of guys are hitting well. We saw Gary Sanchez feast on a lefty. Lockridge actually has looked real good so far, which is going to be a big piece of this team, and it's what the front office seemed to think he's capable of, so that's great. Garrett Mitchell's been rolling. Joey Ortiz has had his moments, and Jake Bauers has stayed pretty hot. So, yeah, needless to say, a 5-1 team has a lot of guys playing well.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my guy Christian Yelich, obviously for obvious reasons, mostly the homer, but Jake Bauers. Honestly, there's times where you love to hate on the guy, but frankly, he's come up clutch in the playoffs. He's come up clutch whenever we've needed a first baseman to fill in for whatever reason. Plays a little left field. Typically a decent base runner. Not this week, apparently. Missing bags, getting accused of missing bags. But yeah, shout out to Jake Bauers and Christian Yelich. Who was your untouchable pitcher of the first week of the 2026 season for the Brewers?
Before we get straight up into that, I'd also like to give a shout out to El Gary. El Gary, like lefty, 2 bombs. So shout out to him. And he's batting 400. He had a couple walks on Tuesday. He was actually 1-for-1 with 2 walks before they pinch hit him for Garrett Mitchell, and Garrett Mitchell struck out on 3 pitches. But my untouched pitcher of the week would be, I don't even know if that's what we call it, but
You fellas are untouchable. Is that the thing? No one can get to you?
it is going to be Jacob Mizorowski. But I'd also like to give a shout out to early season Aaron Ashby. Guy seems to also be back in the role, pitching every day. He does have like a 1.59, which at the beginning of the year doesn't matter that much, but it seems like he's just always on the mound. Shout out to him. Miz has got 18 strikeouts. I believe that's the third most in the first 2 starts of the year, behind Moose Haas in 79 and Woodruff last year, I think it was. And he's tied with a couple other people. But, I mean, I did not expect him to come out of the gate this hot. I was kind of skeptical when he was starting on opening day. Granted, there weren't that many options that were better, but I would say I'm pleasantly surprised. And he's pitched well, minus, a couple mistakes. And I think that long layoff after CB got knocked out of the game didn't help him either, but he locked back in and showed a lot of poise for his age.
I'll since you already shouted out 2 guys deserving, I'll shout out Kyle Harrison. He looked really good in his start. That one earned, I believe it was a homer, right? But whatever.
Yeah.
Recovered 8 Ks. That 3 pitch mix he's working for the most part looked really good. And then a lot of the relievers haven't really been working in as much clutch time, but Grant Anderson's been getting it done. So love to see him keep eating.
Yeah, a couple of leadoff homers for the Brewers starters, but yeah, the obvious choice would be Miz with the 2 starts. But shout out to everyone really. Harrison looks good in his debut. Still have really high hopes for him after the Brewers got their hands on him. And Woody, welcome back again. Welcome back.
I believe DL Hall, he hasn't given up a run yet. I mean, he does. It's not like they're clean innings, but he's got 7 Ks and hasn't given up a run yet. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Ashby
basically
too.
the back end. He's basically a filler at this point for innings when we're in blowouts. But last year it was who was it? I was just talking about him. Opening day last year, the home opener. I mean, they had a
Alvin?
bunch of filler guys come in, and yeah, I think his last name is Rodriguez.
Yeah, Alvin
Alvin
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
That's what I said.
Alvin.
Yeah.
I mean, this year that's really Jake Woodford. But
He looked good.
yeah, he did twice. I think he came in and pitched. He looked good. So, but DL is like kind of that next guy after him, and we've had worse guys in the past, and I think that's why we have the best run differential in the league, is because I feel like there's not really a weak spot on the roster.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys got anything else about the first 2 series?
I mean, to your point, Kean, not a weak spot on the roster. The only place you'd really come to mind is either where we have injuries with Churio and Vaughn, or at third base, really. But David Hamilton's looked sharp to start the year, getting on base a lot, scoring runs. It seems to fit right in. And on the flip side of that, Caleb Durbin's been ice cold to start for the Red Sox. It's obviously too early to say anything, and I still like Caleb Durbin, but yeah, there's not a lot of weaknesses on this team, and hopefully they just continue to get healthier as we see Vaughn and Churio come back.
Yeah.
Another piece before we move on, while we're on Caleb Durbin, I guess I saw the Red Sox radio guy. I don't know if you guys saw that, just going in on Caleb Durbin, not the person or the player, just the fact that it seemed silly to just look at the surface level. Oh, he finished third in National League Rookie of the Year, when he is basically at his ceiling already and will be, a productive utility infielder. But I feel like some fans, and that includes Brewer fans, had kind of a ballooned expectation for him. And I think that I hate to say it, but it probably was right to trade him, especially if Kyle Harrison turns out to be exactly what he was a couple days ago.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's go around the farm.
If it hadn't been for those meddling kids. If it hadn't been for you meddling kids. Ah, meddling kids. If it hadn't been for these meddling laddies.
Any big news around the farm? Anyone?
Luis
The
Lara.
rosters came out. Yeah, Luis Lara's in AAA. He's looking good.
Oh,
A lot of
nothing
guys.
major,
Well,
like
yeah, I know Pratt,
nothing like
but
really big
I
to
was
really
I was
excited
gonna
about.
say Fisher is with the T-Rats. Jaden Fielder's in the low A. The Warbirds this year. Wilson Warbirds.
Well, that's right.
Abel is there as well.
Eddie
First
Morgan.
round pick last year, I believe. So, otherwise, a lot of guys I think are where they left off or where you'd expect them. But we have
Wait,
talent on all those teams.
what are they called? The Wilson Warbirds?
Wilson Warbirds.
Is that the name
Yeah.
of the city?
The city is Wilson. Their mascot is
Got it.
Warbirds.
Managed by former Concordia University of Wisconsin baseball head coach Eddie Morgan, also former Chinooks manager.
Wow.
Nice.
Little tidbit of fun fact for you.
Yeah, Cooper
I
Pratt.
love your tidbits.
Yeah.
Um, is that all you had, Cole, from around the farm?
Well, I was gonna say if you want to talk about Cooper Pratt,
Oh
that's what
yeah,
we're talking about.
Cooper Pratt.
Yeah.
Mr. Cooper Pratt is on the verge of
Yes, that
signing.
deal actually not signed yet, correct?
Yeah,
Correct,
it's not
because
officially official. It's just
they have to
official.
clear
That's
a
just like so
40-man
weird.
spot.
Like,
They got to clear a 40-man spot, and the only obvious guy right now is Stuart Burrow, which someone just reminded me is on minor league rehab. And I don't think you can DFA a guy when they're on minor league rehab, I think technically. I don't know. But then again, yeah, I don't
yeah,
know. I
you
don't
should
get
be
it.
able to.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Either way, Cooper Pratt, 8 years, 50 million plus 2 option years for like 15 million each after that. Very similar to the Trio deal, just a little smaller. So we'll take it. He's probably a guy that I would think we'd see by the end of 2026 now. And maybe if all goes right in AAA, we see him by, I don't know, June, July, but probably in September, especially with the impending lockout, I would think. So
Yeah, pretty high floor guy, I think is the
yeah.
thought there. I think it's a limiting risk decision where his worst case is still MLB rosterable. And I don't know, it sucks because I think at least as Brewers fans, even though Joey Ortiz struggled last year, people like him. I like him, but put some pressure on him, and he started the year hot, and hopefully it can just be a spark and he can roll with it. But yeah, Cooper Pratt has all the tools. It's a guy we've talked about in that sense. He's a guy that doesn't get as much of the hype as some of our prospects, I think. But I mean, obviously the organization believes in him. You don't see Mark Antanasio sign many checks that are that big. So
Yeah, no, I like Cooper Pratt just because of the high ceiling, uh, and there's also a high floor. So I've read a couple articles that said he could play shortstop for, a couple teams today. That's how good his defense is. So if his back can, produce anything, sort of a Jory Ortiz-esque or higher, that's okay. And then to put a bow on the Stuart Baroa thing, I assume the Brewers are trying to curate curate a trade to get him off the roster or somebody else, just to instead of just straight up releasing or DFAing somebody off of it. Sometimes it's easier to do a Luis Matos trade and just ship him off for cash or you know something like that. So I like Cooper Pratt, and maybe the Brewers feel that he can come up and contribute, at third base before the end of the season. So I love it. I always love when I know guys are going to be around for a while. As I've said before, that doesn't happen very often where they're here longer than, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons. It's nice to see somebody locked up, and it's nice to know that a couple guys are going to be locked up now with him and Churio, and hopefully a couple more down the road.
Yeah, a couple things. I mean, Ortiz actually had a ball fall early, I think on opening day, and since then he's kind of been hitting the ball hard. Maybe that's all he really needed to see to kind of turn around a little bit, but it's been a good start for him. But yeah, that brings up to Luis Matos, like you said. Brewers acquired him for cash. Um, just another outfielder. Probably maybe not a guy who's going to spend the whole season with the Brewers, but someone who will help out in the absence of some players with the righty bats injured that I mentioned. And then the other thing is Jefferson Carroll finally made his debut. So he's already back down to AAA, but guy we've been kind of waiting on for a couple of years now. He came up briefly until Matos took his spot. So
Yeah, no, it was nice to see Carroll up. It was. I remember when we were having the discourse. Well, not much discourse, just the conversation on here about whether the Carroll catcher for the White Sox in their system was related to our Carroll, who was a catcher in our system, and we said no. And then it was crazy because they were both essentially, starting against each other, and it was one Carroll's major league debut. So I thought that was pretty cool.
yeah, I don't know if you guys have like anything else in particular to talk about.
I was just gonna say for Woody's start, I think he was sitting like 93-ish on his fastball, which is about where he was when he was pitching last year. So that was kind of a concern, and um, he's obviously effective at that velocity. So if he doesn't tick up much more, I think the floor there should be okay. And if he's able to keep putting a couple miles per hour back on, like to the Woody we were used to a couple years ago, he'll just be a little more lethal. So that was good. Like you said, Scoop, he looked good.
Final thing I'll say about pretty much anything is from somebody who's at the game, the Yandy Diaz to start was a changeup that he missed, but then the homer that he gave up was on an 89-mile-an-hour sinker. And then after that, you did not see, another sinker or four-seam fastball from him that was under 90. I mean, a lot of it sat at 90, 91, 92, 93, but he even got all the way up with a sinker to 95. I think Adam McCalvey tweeted out that was literally 95.1 was his highest, but it's also first start of the season. And like I've said, there's 10,000 people there. You get him in a situation where it's high stakes postseason. He's well into the season, multiple starts under his belt, no injury, no setbacks. I could see him, reaching 97 maybe, but that 95 won't just happen once or twice. And hopefully he's done, throwing 89-mile-an-hour fastballs right down the middle.
Um, yeah, I didn't have anything else in particular to talk about. I guess it was another cycle of all these talking heads saying, "Yeah, I think the Cubs win the division. I think they win the division. I think this. I think
All
the
right, hey,
Brewers."
we're still only 6 games
No, no,
in,
no, no,
but
no. I'm
yeah,
not.
we look good.
No, I'm just saying it was another cycle of them saying the Brewers are, oh, they traded Freddie and oh, they can't keep doing this. They can't keep doing this. It'll easily. I heard baseball's dead today or from the other day say Dallas Braden say it's easy. Yeah, I think the Cubs win this one easily. It's like I don't know, man. Like the Brewers aren't they didn't win the division yet, obviously, but it seemingly they keep doing it. So
Yeah, we look as talented, honestly, as ever, in my opinion.
that's
But
yeah, exactly.
just
So
not with some of the names that have been around. But yeah, I think my like final thought is I kind of forgot with some of the roster crunchings. I was shocked in the parking lot on opening day when I saw Reese McGuire in his White Sox uniform. Ha ha. No, wishing him the best, of course. But
yeah, this podcast has been known for yeah.
yeah. Anyways, yeah, no. It was interesting that that Pratt contract got announced, and since then there's been two more guys who haven't debuted with possible giant contracts being passed out. Is it Emerson
Yeah.
with the Mariners? And
Olson
then
Emerson, I believe. Yeah.
obviously there's some rumblings about Griffin already. But he'll be
No, it
debuting
sounds like
shortly. Yeah, I
sounds like
saw
it's
that,
done.
but.
Yeah.
So crazy. The amount of money being these smaller, it's going to be interesting on the back end because not all these deals are going to hit for these small market teams that are, I mean, I guess the Mariners aren't really a small market team, but these teams handing out these big contracts on the front end and hoping it pans out, there's probably going to be a team or two that has to bite the bullet there, but hopefully it's not us.
Well, I just saw Buster Olney tweeted this afternoon, like, frankly, we might see a lot of extensions with teams thinking that with a
Yeah.
potential salary cap that some of these deals are going to get grandfathered in. So that is going to be a freaking nightmare to navigate. That I think that makes this situation muddier if you're all of a sudden grandfathering in.
Yeah, let's sign our whole team to 15-year deals. We can
Yeah.
push the money out.
Yeah, well, actually notable, Ananazio said that the TV deal, the lack of the TV deal and MLB taking over cost them about 20 million, but it's all right. They were already budgeting for it. So hopefully that means what we were hopefully the last couple of years it seems like they didn't expand the payroll when they should have, and hopefully that means that that was already accounted for, not that they're going to take a $20 million cut to the payroll now. So kind of explains why we kind of went up after 2018 every year, and then it kind of just flattened out. But yeah, tough. I don't really get the TV part of it, and it's all the more reason for me to really want a little bit better TV deal revenue sharing, especially from the Dodgers when they got bailed out from bankruptcy, and then now they don't share their money. But that's just my humble opinion. What do I know?
Yeah, I think that's all. I think
Yeah,
we
that's all I got. Nice and tight today. I know we got a lot going on in our personal lives. Cole's on the verge of getting married, everyone.
Yep. This is true.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Go Brewers.
Perfect timing. He was messing with that before we started. Yeah, a lot of AL opponents. Brewers are headed to Kansas City and Boston now. So, go Brewers. They keep matching these AL teams.
Go Crew.